Hi everyone, today I will present to your attention the training program Professional Analytics and Blogging, Value Analysis in Reviews and Unboxing. We'll look at what value analysis tools or VA tools are in more detail below, but I think part of the audience is still familiar with this abbreviation from university course. And this issue opens up another area of activity within the framework of the project costengineer.ru, namely training and practicing bloggers to use the basic and expanded list of analytical tools of the Blogger Reviewer. The basic terminology used in this training course includes the term shown on the slide. Maybe someone has a question: why is there no definition of value analysis or VA on the slide? I have several possible answers as this answer. First, the definition is large and doesn't fit on the slide. Second, the definition is too well known to pronounce it aloud. And third, there are many definitions, they are all available on the internet and in the thematic literature. There is no point in dwelling on any particular one. But seriously, the definition won't give you anything. Value analysis, in my opinion, is like an elementary particle that exists only in motion, i.e., the value analysis exists only as part of the analysis of a specific object, and in our case, as part of a specific review performed by a specific blogger. This training course is presented within the framework of the announced concept of the value analysis. Therefore, about a third of study time will be devoted to a theoretical review of the basic concepts of the value analysis and related disciplines, and the bulk of the study time will be devoted to analyzing practical examples and independent work. For those who are used to understanding any issue a little deeper than is required and have the time for it, I recommend that you familiarize yourself with the editions of the Cost Engineer training course dedicated to the basic concepts of the value analysis, which are presented on the Value Analysis for Cost Engineers channel. Let's start with the most general concept of blogging. The general formulation of the concept of blogging can have the following form: regular or rhythmic publication of content in order to attract an audience and then obtain appropriate effects. The effects in this case can include the acquisition of influence of the public, see the concept of influencers, which is considered broader than a blogger, since an influencer isn't necessarily a blogger, for the purpose of its subsequent commercial use. The question arises how, for example, through advertising. This is how we come to define blogging from a marketing perspective. Namely, blogging is a type of advertising within the framework of affiliate marketing, which includes branding and product positioning. See the definition of branded or affiliate content, affiliate programs, etc. Let's move on to a narrower concept of the review blogger and its typical tools. So a blogger who creates text or video content using various analytical tools, the main of which, as a rule, is expert assessment as well as consumer impact tools. Consumer impact tools such as neuromarketing and other are not the object of our consideration in this case, so I recommend that listeners who are interested in this area look for additional sources of information. An analysis of the concept of expert assessment to the tools used in the framework of expert assessment in relation to the classical review is discussed in the video review of the Signboard 25 drone. On the Value Analysis for Cost Engineers channel, which we will discuss below. Thus, the purpose of the training program Professional Analytics and Blogging, Value Analysis in Reviews and Unboxing is to train a blogger to use additional value analysis tools that he can apply in his reviews in addition to the expert assessment methodology. With regard to the concept of value analysis tools, the following can be noted. To understand this tool, the listener should first familiarize himself or refresh the concept of the value analysis and then watch, preferably without interruption, 20 hours of content on the Value Analysis for Cost Engineers channel. If you are not a proponent of extreme measures and similar inhuman approaches, then the least energy consuming and the most comfortable for you, it will be necessary to familiarize with the specially prepared minimum required data as a part of our training program. In terms of the concept of content quality and content uniqueness, in addition to the definition gives on the slide, you can add the following in a competitive environment, which can include the environment of review bloggers. The consumer, among other things, begins to look for something that wasn't a review he had already viewed, and it's precisely the formation of such conditionally unique content. The question reasonably arises: what will make your content unique, for example, compared to those who will take this course as well as you? The uniqueness of the content in this case lies not in the list of tools that you can see, but in their combination with your individual image or charisma, the creation of which is included in the content of the basic course for bloggers. Imagine a prism through which light passes and is decomposed into a spectrum. Light in this case can be represented as information about the object you are reviewing. The prism is your individual image of a blogger or charisma, coupled with a list of analytical methods that you use, and the results spectrum is nothing more than the list of conclusions which the blogger presents to the audience based on the results of the review. Thus, the quality and uniqueness of the content directly depends on the size of the spectrum, i.e., because the blogger it's bigger, the audience will see what they expect and can see on your review. So, let's answer the question: why was this course created? In short, it was created in order to compensate for a number of disadvantages of existing blogger courses. Do these disadvantages really exist? The answer is yes. Try to familiarize yourself with the content of standard training courses for novice bloggers, and ideally try to create a comprehensive program containing sections for different ages, and you will see in it such sections as social networks, types of blogs, the technical and legal foundation of blogging, the basics of journalism, the basics of camera art, the basics of psychology, and etc. I will not even focus on the fact that it is extremely unlikely that there is a person on earth who is able to master at least superficially all of these disciplines within the framework of training, but simply not that any kind of analytics except for analysis of the channels built on statistical tools, number of views, age and location of the audience, and etc. as a rule, it's not mentioned there, which in general is rather strange, since one of the most common types of video blogs. This is video review and unpacking, and review blogger is nothing more than an analyst within this format. As a result, having tried yourself in the format of reviews, you may find yourself in a very delicate situation of a blogger who in fact was nothing to say except what has already been said by others, i.e. a player who doesn't have a competitive advantage, but more on that below. As I mentioned above, the list of requires blogger skills is typical. And by default, most of your potential competitors have these skills to one degree or another. In addition, your competitors may have significantly more financial resources that will be used for promotion. Thus, the only option in many cases may be to create content with a higher degree of quality and uniqueness, the definition of which we have already defined above. A more detailed discussion of the theoretical questions, what is quality content, how to assess the level of content quality, how is content quality related to audience satisfaction, and so on. It's included in the curriculum of our course as part of the study of certain sections of related disciplines, which I have already mentioned on the slide, integrated competence development, and the concepts of which will be used by us as part of the application of the value analysis tools. If you move from theory to practice and try to formalize the list of competitive advantages, we will get that what is presented on the slide. So, the left part shows the basic skills that both you and your competitors possesses, i.e. the conditional must have and must know. I will not list them, not only that if you possess all the skills, at least at the unprofessional level, then this is already very good. The right-hand side of the table mainly contains information about disciplines that, as a rule, are not included in the list of standard disciplines taught in Blogger courses. Thus, based on the results of the training program, you will improve your competences in such areas of knowledge as analytical tools, expert assessment and value analysis, design engineering, quality management, as part of definition of parameters of the RQS diagram, industrial design, materials science and production technology, economics and cost engineering. Moreover, no matter how it may sound, but the most useful skills for some may eventually be the skill of working in a spreadsheet editor and charting. Studying individual sections of the listed disciplines isn't a gesture of goodwill or a bonus. It's just that it simply won't work without partial immersion in the listed related fields of knowledge. In general, as the classic said, you can just start using the tools of the value analysis. The last two items in the unique skills column, at first glance, have only the indirect relation to competitive advantages, but in my opinion they do. Many people are familiar with such a concept as professional orientation when choosing a profession, but not many people understand that the latter of amount of initial data for a professional. When the orientation is formed, the more accurate the result will be, so it should be borne in mind that professional orientation for several days is certainly good, but risky. Because, in fact, you get a recommendation form from a list of professions, and content of which, in fact, isn't clear to you. Conditionally, such an express career guidance is only the first approximation, which should be followed by the second and third in a good way. Thus, by adding disciplines from the right side of the table to the study of the disciplines listed on the left side of the table, you essentially increases your chances of choosing a more accurate profession, which, generally speaking, is quite an important issue for anyone. Under blogger professional orientation mentioned in the table, I mean nothing more than choosing the direction of the products that you will review as blogger. In fact, this is exactly the advantage our competent bloggers. You will have more information about your compatibility with certain fields in science, and you will be able to change the direction of video reviews, for example, from phones to cars, and etc. In terms of confirming the universality of the analytical skills acquired during this training course and mentioned in paragraph 16, I can only recommend the students watch an introductory video with an example review presented on the value analysis for cost engineers channel, and then enter the search query classification of research methods in the browser, and they will be able easy to find among the search results a mention of almost all analytical tools in various contexts, ranging from the scientific to purely practical ones. Simply put, if at some points you do not want to continue to be a blogger, then our certificates may well be useful to you when applying for a position whose job responsibilities include analytical activities. The special feature of this training course is that you don't get a pig in a poke, but rather train in a specific list of tools that are applicable to a chosen video review format. On our value analysis for cost engineers channel, you can familiarize yourself in advance with examples of an analytical package performed using classical analysis methods and the value analysis methods for the format short, reels, long reels, standard review, and the extended review live. By analogy, with which in the framework of Block 3, your personal video review will be completed during the course. However, before enrolling in the course, I recommend that you look at the case access now how useful these skills will be for you, and make a decision as consistently as possible. Perhaps not everything will be clear at the first viewing, perhaps almost nothing will be clear. But you shouldn't worry about this, since Block 2 of our training course is a little more than completely devoted to a detailed analysis of the practical case and various review formats. The structure, content and complexity of the course blocks are presented in the table and include a lecture block, a block of practical exercises, and a block of independent work. In practical classes, a practical example of performing a drone review will be analyzed. Why a drone? I just like the drones. For a number of reasons. Firstly, this is a relatively simple and compact object, the design engineering of which will be understandable to almost anyone. Secondly, it contains both a mechanical and electronic part. Thirdly, it is most interesting to listen to a person who knows what he's talking about in practice, and even better, has experience in design engineering and object of analysis. Whatever the approaches of the analytical methods offered in our course are practically universal and will allow you to prepare analytics for an object of any degree of complexity and size, ranging from jewelry to technically complex objects from a smartphone to an airplane. The concept and content of the curriculum were prepared by Associate Professor of the Department of Industrial Management at one of the leading Russian universities, a candidate of economic science or PhD, and a practitioner with experience in design engineering work in the aerospace industry, and working as an analytical cost engineer in the Auros project, project manager of costengineer.ru project, and the author of the channel Value Analysis for Cost Engineers. At the end of the course, you will receive a certificate of completion based on the content of which the employer will be able to evaluate the entire list of skills that you have acquired as part of training course, as well as receive a free one-time online consultation from a qualified HR specialist, in which you can discuss how to best reflect the acquired skills in your updated resume, taking into account your level of education or work experience, as well as your planned place of employment. Questions and suggestions of the training course, Professional Analytics and Blogging, Value Analysis and Reviews and Unboxing, please send to the mailing address indicated in the description of the channel or via the feedback form on the website costengineer.ru. All bye!